This is TWiT.
Sony, now this is interesting and expensive. Sony basically came out with a new Walkman, the ZX2. And there's a picture of it right there with the gold-toned headphone jack. Okay, so 128 gigs of onboard storage. And it's packing a lot of storage because this is a high-fidelity audio device, which, you know, Walkmans are audio devices. So this is meant to be kind of a competitor to Neil Young's Pono and some of the other devices that are coming out now that are spec'd specifically to deal with high-resolution audio. It's uncompressed audio, up to 192 kilohertz, 24-bit audio, which, I mean, pretty much in, you know, recording studios and all that kind of stuff, that ends up being about the digital standard these days. That's what their masters are stored at. So, I mean, that's some serious serious capability. This can hold, with its 128 gigs of storage, up to 2,000, around 2,000 high-resolution audio files. It can play back for, it said 60 hours of battery life. And actually, I'm not sure if that meant 60 hours of playback or, yeah, that's probably what it would mean. I don't know if you'd have this powered on otherwise if you weren't playing stuff back. So 60 hours battery life, they're touting. Wi-Fi on board. It is running Jelly Bean. So that's a little bit of a disappointment, although I don't know how necessary it is on a device like this that's dedicated more for high-quality audio. But the price tag, $1,119.99. That's what it's going to set you back.
Yikes! It's crazy.
You're going to pay for all that resolution.
Yes. I mean...
Hey, so I may be living under a rock. I didn't realize that Walkman was still like a thing. I mean, a brand name that they're like using. I mean, as a child of the 80s and admittedly a non-audiophile, I was sort of like, I'm going to buy this really expensive brick that calls itself a Walkman. Like, it's still kind of about the same size of as a cassette tape, except it weighs way more.
Yeah,
I mean, it's bigger than a cassette tape, but it's actually kind of the size of a cassette Walkman. I don't know, this seems crazy, but are people buying these things? I don't know. Jason, you care about music.
I do care about music. I care about high-fidelity audio. I also care about money and not spending lots of it if I don't have to. Well, you know, $1,100 for a high-resolution audio device is not targeted to me, and I consider myself an audiophile. Having said that, I haven't necessarily put money in the past 5 years into a device that plays high-res audio files. So does that make me not really actually an audiophile? Maybe, you know, that case could be made. I feel like $1,100 is a very specific group of people that's willing to put that kind of money into a device that plays it back at that high-res point. I think no matter what, that's expensive. Pono Player, right? PC guy in the chat room is confirming the chat. Pono Player is $400, and this is Neil Young, who has been developing this for the last however many years, funded it on Kickstarter, I think, officially, although I think they had funding beforehand, but that kind of allowed them to push it out and, you know, broaden it out a little bit and help to market it especially. But so there is a price to be paid and a value proposition for high-res audio, and there's certainly a group of people that are willing to pay more for high-resolution audio. $1,200 for a device that does it, though, I don't understand why. I don't understand where that extra money, like why you choose to spend that extra money on that device when other devices do it too.
Yeah, I mean, I have very fond memories myself of my old Walkmans from the 80s, but I don't think I will be investing any money in this.
No. Yeah, right. And then, you know, the media for it, does Sony have their own store to offer this stuff? Probably eventually I would imagine that they're going to have a way to get at this content and everything, but feels kind of like strangely, because it's audio we're talking about, but it feels like early days for high resolution audio. And I think by and large, people still, the vast majority of people don't understand why they would pay extra for high resolution audio when MP3 to a lot of people sounds fine enough, you know, good enough.
Yeah, and especially since so many people are streaming music now over services like Spotify and RDO and what have you. That seems to be the mainstream audience, and I don't necessarily know if they care that much about high res audio. Whereas with video, you know, with 4K devices, you can say that's kind of the equivalent in the video space of having very high res video. I think people, they usually have their TVs at home and they want to recreate the movie theater experience. It's a different type of thing. So, but yeah, I just don't see it being a huge market yet. Maybe that may change. I don't know.
Yeah. Easier to convince people that something looks better than to convince people that something sounds better, I think.
Exactly. Most people just don't have the ears. I'll be honest, I don't know if I even have the ear to be able to tell much of a difference, but I'm sure some people do. But
totally.
They might be professionals.
Yeah. I also I have such strong brand association. Like I just associate Walkman with nostalgia and the past.
Yes.
That it's just so surprising to me that they're like, this is obviously like quite a futuristic device. But like that's just not what I associate. I don't even know if this is very, very vain of me, but I don't even know if I want to say, oh yeah, like look at my Walkman. Like it doesn't even feel like it would be a status symbol, even if I was an audiophile. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I'm not part of that community, but it's a weird brand. But I get why they want to use the brand because it's
there it
an
is,
internationally recognized brand. Oh,
little nubbins.
Wow.
I remember those.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was a good time.
Phil Collins. Was it No Jacket Required? Okay, wow, this is dating me. First headphone Walkman experience I ever had was, we were way on a trip and somebody had one of those Walkmans with the Phil Collins No Jacket Required.
Wow.
And I remember at night they let me borrow it for the night. And when I went to bed, I put on those, the puffy little headphones with the wire trim things, that sit on top of your ears.
Terrible headphones, yeah.
I'm not even saying I'm a Phil Collins fan because I've never really been a huge fan of Phil Collins, but it was a magical experience. Yes, there we go. The little puffy headphones.
Oh, yes, I remember. I actually like me some Phil Collins myself. So
he's got some good songs.
Yeah,
I'm not saying produces only bad music, but I wouldn't say that I was a huge fan.
Yeah,
but
got it.
That album was all right.
Yeah,
and definitely it was great to hear it in my ears in that way for the first time.
I think my first cassette tape on a Walkman was probably Michael Jackson.
Okay, that's a good first.
No, that's a good one. Mine was Cyndi Lauper. She's so unusual.
So we're all well, I guess it is Walkman we're talking about here. They were all born of the same era.
Yes.
So
yes, we were.
All right. There we go. Yes, there's definite brand association here. And that, to answer your question from earlier, Gina, is exactly why Sony still does Walkman. Because there's enough people that associate some really good memories. And, it started a revolution of sorts in that regard, or at least popularized it. So there you go.